So let's do another board book collage. So here are some of my other pages that I did in this book. And I think I have about 11 spreads left, something like that, 10 or 11. No, maybe it's only 7. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I'm going to start with these 2 pages and fill the entire background of each side. And then we're going to layer on top of that. So the one on the left was from like my rubber band video that I did recently, and the one on the right, I think I was just, squirting paint down on the gel plate and just pulling a print, like a Rorschach test. So I like some of that sort of boldness that you get with the paper that's on the right. The other one on the other side is a little more subtle, but we're going to layer some more like bold things on top, so it'll be fine. So if this is your first board book video with me, I always sand the pages first, then put gesso on them before I start to collage. So right now I'm putting on some gel medium, and I'm laying down my first paper, and I'm going to use a spreader. I couldn't find my catalyst wedge at that moment, so I used this harder plastic one. And because the paint was very thick, I didn't have to worry too much about it tearing the paper. If you have a thin paper like tissue or deli paper, I definitely suggest you stop doing everything until you go find your catalyst wedge, because you really need to have something softer like that, more pliable. So I don't always do this, but on this collage I decided to cover the entire background of both pages and then just layer on top of it. And I'm probably going to use a lot of deli papers for the transparency. I'm making sure I'm getting out all the bubbles. And you can see like that paper on the left has some imperfections, but we're going to cover a lot of that up, so I'm not worried about that. And the right side is extremely bold, so we've got to tone that down a little bit. So I did find this deli paper that was sort of a cleanup sheet, and I absolutely loved the patterns that I got, these very organic patterns. So I knew for sure that I wanted to use that. And I'm just going to use a ruler and just tear. And that wasn't such a good idea. So I have to get my X-Acto blade out, get some precision cutting going on here. But that is definitely going to stay there. I'm just sort of roughing the top up. I don't like to have straight lines unless I'm butting up against the edge. I really love that particular smudge. I'm not sure where I'm going to use it, but I cut it out so that I have it available to me. At first I thought I was going to put it up there, but definitely not. So I'm still at that stage where I'm thinking and trying different things and pulling out different kinds of papers and just looking to see if anything inspires me or excites me. And I really wish I had like a wide angle so that you could see my hands. Sometimes I end up having to sort of be out of frame. I am going to fix that. I promise you, in 2024, I will get some kind of a wide angle lens or something. Finally get to use my Canon camera possibly above my desk. Find some way to suspend it. That's been a real challenge. And so it's I've been in the studio now for, I don't know, 5 months, and I still don't have it figured out. The challenges of video, especially suspended over a table and with lighting and everything, it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, I'm just cleaning up the edges so that I can really see my my pages now and what I have to work with so I can plan my composition better. The nice thing about the board book is it's stiff enough that it's real easy to just cut around. So I'm still planning to put that there. So since it's a definite, I'm going to get out my gel medium and get that down. And the same thing with this other side. And I love how the transparency of the Deli paper. I will definitely put a link below the Deli paper. That's my most frequent question. What Deli paper do you use? What is the brand? It doesn't have a brand name as far as I know. I get it from Amazon and it's inexpensive. I think you get 100 sheets for $9. And it really works beautifully in collage. And it's my favorite way to use, it's a favorite paper to use as a pickup sheet when I'm doing jelly printing. So I'm still thinking, do I want that piece? I like, but I don't know. It's too overwhelming, I think. It's too big a blob. And this was like a clean off sheet. I was thinking of using a piece of it. I decided against it. So now I have the yellow that was done the same time as the blue paper. It's a lighter version of it. It was the second print. I definitely wanted to use them together, but not in such an obvious way. And then I brought in this Mulberry paper. It's kind of like a lattice pattern. It's got these fine threads running through it that when you pull it apart, the threads come out. And so I'm definitely going to use that. And then since this was made with twine, it's perfect for this particular collage. And I try to tear along the transparent part. And because that is, it's less of a big blob, there's a little bit more interest there. And I try to match that curve where the white is. Or at least that's what I'm thinking I might do. Probably change my mind by the time I glue it down. So I'm still thinking. I'm looking at my colors and seeing what other colors I need to introduce. So this right-hand side needed a little bit of orange. And it does have a little bit in that blotchy area, but I wanted something a little bit more. So that's going to be underneath the Deli paper. So I'm gluing down the things that I'm absolutely sure about. And those orange and blue papers were on copy paper, so they're a little thicker, a little easy to work with. And when you're working with the mulberry paper, you have to put a lot of gel medium down, over the top. You have to keep going over it. It will dry clear, so it's okay. And I like the way the threads connect to the other paper. And I try to use my brush to control the shape of the thread. I pulled it up and decided to put it back down. I wanted it a little bit lower. I think I was covering up too much of that green area. So while your gel medium is wet, you can change your mind. You can always lift things up. Now, rice paper is a little tricky because it could get, when it's wet, it gets like delicate. Anyway, on this right-hand side where that big white blob was, I wanted to tone it down a bit. So I'm just putting this sort of delicate pattern that's on deli paper. Those pickup sheets come in real handy when I'm doing collage. That was just a piece of deli paper that I would, the blue with the black, where I was just picking up in between like this fine openings of a stencil. These green areas I matched on both sides, one a little, our eyes go from like left to right. And so the one in the left-hand corner kind of gets your eye started, and you're kind of going to go in that sort of circular pattern over to the one on the left. At least this is how I think. This is how I plan out my compositions and how I decide what's missing. If the eye isn't naturally going around, then I know something's missing. So that orange blob was really starting to bother me, and I introduced some of that teal that's on the other page. This page had teal on it, but it was very subtle. So I think I'm done. I need to trim up the edges. Oh, no, not done. So I decide to add just a touch of the mulberry paper on this right-hand side. And this is where I really control the way the strands go with my brush. We'll see in a second. My brush has sort of a round tip to it, so I use it to sort of go around where the white paint is. It makes all the difference. So now I think I'm done. We're trimming up the edges. I always wait for it to dry before I do this. So then I decide I have one more piece. Once you trim off the edges, then you really see how your composition is. And so I decide I needed one more deli paper with the twine over on the far left. And so now I am finished. I'm very happy with this one. Maybe my collages are starting to look too much alike. I don't know. I have to rethink that in the weeks to come. As I go through the book, I can see, where I'm going with things. Maybe I need to change it up a little bit on the next one. Anyway, thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed today's session. And don't forget to create, inspire, and share. And I'll see you next time, so take care. Bye-bye.